How's everybody going? How's everybody going?
How's everyone going? How is he going?
How is he going? I will scoot up. I'll fix my hair. I just got out of the shower.
How is my hair going? My hair is going large. That's how my hair is going.
I love Beth's big hair.
How is your hair going?
My hair's
Your
going.
hair's going
Well,
normal.
If I go like this, you can see my little cowlick sticking up in the back.
I took a video of our 4-year-old this week, and he like had this complete.
It looked like Indian feathers all week.
He had a complete thing happening back there. What are you doing?
You got a little lipstick on your teeth. I was trying to do it all down low. I'm like,
I have no idea.
What are you doing?
Is it gone?
Yeah, it's gone.
Good
She
to
had
know.
lipstick on her teeth. I was trying not to out her, but she's like, "What are you doing?"
Why are you doing that? I don't get a lot of little subtle hints. Don't do that. I think that I just have to have things spelled out gently. Spelled out.
My girl.
So we're coming live from our brand new phone this week.
It's almost like a whole new studio.
So if it looks like way better, it's because we've got a brand new phone.
And because it's brand new, Beth's been playing with it a lot, and we have low battery, so we'll see how far we make it tonight.
If we cut it short and we go, oh my gosh, our battery ran out, bye, then you'll know what's going on. That's why. But it's taking really good videos, and so we've got some good pictures of the kids in the last week.
4K.
I think I'm not taking it on 4K because it takes up too much space on my phone. Maybe I should. Will you stop fixing your hair?
It's hard not to. I'm looking at myself.
Stop looking at yourself.
I love myself.
Look at the camera.
I love you.
You're so ridiculous. Nice butterfly hands, though.
That was nice, wasn't it?
The kids saw a monarch butterfly today in the garden.
The garden.
In the garden.
Apparently my garden's called my plants are growing voluntarily. That's what I heard 2 or 3 people say this week. Really fun term. We've just been throwing our cutoffs and our compost out there, and now we got stuff growing, so loads of fun.
Yes. Now that Skip is a real-life, voluntary compost garden farmer,
I enjoy it.
He talks to actual farmers, and they give him little tips, so we're thankful for that.
One of my customers tipped me with a brand new mango tree.
So the new member of our family this week is a mango tree.
8 or 10 inches tall, and 2 years ago he had a bunch of his mangoes fall to the ground because he wasn't around to pick them up or something, I guess he said. And he's got all these shoots. So a year and a half later, so he just went and dug one up for me. I was telling him because he was composting, so I saw that and I struck up a conversation with him about it. And he's one of the ones that said, "Oh, you got volunteer plants." I said, "Volunteer plants?" It's like, yeah, they're just growing. You're not planting. You're not making rows. They're just growing. Said, yeah, that's what I have. Volunteer plants.
We volunteer to be a Swagger family plant.
When they get tall enough, I will voluntarily eat them. So we got watermelon. I think we've talked about this, haven't we?
We've talked about it a lot.
We definitely have watermelon. I mean, we got little watermelons about that big right now. I think it's a watermelon.
It's a baby watermelon.
So I got a little mango tree. He put it in a pot for me, sent me home with it. So that was fun.
That was nice.
Yeah, really nice.
So the good news is that hopefully we won't be reaching for the phone as often. My old phone was completely out of space, and so it would alert us.
Right,
you're going to do it anyway. The phone would alert us every week, like, oh my gosh, you're so out of space, right in the middle of us talking. So hopefully that won't happen now. But apparently we're going to touch it anyway.
Yeah, should definitely not happen. You have loads more space.
Loads of space, unless we get some other kind of alert. We're not that good at electronics, so it's possible. Yeah,
went from 16 gigs, is that what you had on your old phone? 16 gigs of space on our old iPhone to 128.
Yeah, first world problems.
Wow. 112 more gigs of space.
So I'm very thankful for a new phone this week. What are you thankful for?
Good question.
Whether you're watching live or when you watch the recording, pop it in the comments below. What are you thankful for?
Yeah, we've had some really, really, really fun interaction with this. Yeah, and we've been talking about that for several weeks now. But we've had several hundred people a week watching this video, which to me is absolutely surprising. I thought literally we would get 3 or 4 of our friends watching, and maybe in 6 months we'd be up to like 20 people or something. But we've had hundreds of people watching. That's been a lot of fun.
Yeah, we're really thankful that you guys are joining in because we're doing this
for us, right,
to serve the community, and so we're glad that the community is joining in.
So we had somebody call us today tells that their boss asked them to watch it at work, one of the videos. I thought that was kind of interesting.
They got paid to watch us.
Paid?
So
I wish somebody would
send
pay
us
me
a
to watch
private
some of your
message
videos.
if you want to get paid. We can hook you up with an employer who will pay you to actually watch this video.
So, lots of fun. So that was a really funny story. Me and Beth were
Our kids
were
don't
cracking
even get
up.
paid to watch this video.
They do not get paid. Our kids get paid for nothing.
They watch it for funsies.
So they get a couple bucks for Christmas or their birthday, and they think they're rich. So
Yeah. $20 goes a long way.
Loads of candy for them, right? With the money, all they want to do is buy candy.
Yeah.
Speaking of candy,
Which I hate when they eat so much candy.
Beth went to the store. She brought all the kids, and she decided to buy them some candies, some box candies. Or they bought them themselves with their
If
own
our
money.
kids get $1,
I
then
don't
they
know.
beg for candy.
So
sometimes
hold
I
on,
let them.
2 things real quick that are crazy.
Okay.
All right, before we get into this
Oh
whole
my
thing.
gosh.
A, our kids get money or they'll get birthday checks like from their relatives or cash, and we put it in the bank. And so, like, let's say it's $20. Like, they keep saying, "You owe me. You put my $20 in your bank."
Are you really going to bring this up?
and
Good.
I-
This will be our surprise topic.
No, it's not.
It's my
I
surprise topic.
literally think that we've spent hundreds of dollars off of that $20. Our kids are taking me for a ride. But anyway, I'm gonna get off
No,
that
you
subject.
do fuzzy math, and
I do
you're
fuzzy
like
math.
Scrooge McDuck. You're
I
like
am not
swimming in the
Scrooge McDuck.
coins and swimming in the dollar bills and stuff, and then you're like, "Oh, kids, you don't have any money."
Unbelievable. Unbelievable. Yeah, because I need their $10 birthday money.
Yep.
So anyway, they buy candy, and Jonah is telling me, I got runs. So if you don't know what runs are, it's like a hard, crunchy candy. They're tiny, you know, and they're different colors. They're oranges and bananas, and they're all shaped like little oranges, little bananas, that kind of stuff. So he gets this box of runs, and he says, Dad, do you want some? And I'm like, yeah, sure. Daisy got bottle cap for her candy box, and she shared some bottle caps with me. He reaches in his pocket. They're not in a Ziploc. They're not in a baggie. They're not in the box they came in. They're just dumped into his pocket, right? And so he picks them up, and he goes like this, and he goes, which one do you want? And there's like lint and stuff. And I go, why are they all white? I've never seen white runs before. He goes, oh, because the candy coating is my worst part, so I get rid of it as fast as possible by sucking it off and then spitting them in my hand and putting them in my pocket. It's the worst.
You just outed our child for a really
Yes,
gross
I did.
habit.
That was Jonah, 9-year-old son, who had runs from his mouth in his linty pocket that he was still enjoying.
Could be worse. You know, I think boys
Disgusting.
traditionally are known for like wearing overalls with no shirt and having a frog in one pocket and a
Slingshot hanging
slingshot
out
in the
one,
other.
Maybe.
I think
Anyway.
half-eaten runs is probably, it could be worse.
Oh my God, not much. Not much.
The fact that he offered it to you is pretty funny.
Oh,
That's sweet. He's so sweet.
he is sweet.
Look at him be so sweet.
He is sweet. I would give him that. So,
Okay.
surprise topics.
Yes, do it.
Who's going first?
I just went,
What's your surprise topic?
you not eating Jonahs Candy.
Oh no, it's Scrooge McDucking their money.
Scrooge McDucking their money.
You can't just say everything you just talked about was my surprise topic. You have to have a surprise topic.
We're just getting right to the thing.
What's your surprise topic?
Okay, you go first.
So you
My
can
new
think
phone.
of one?
My new phone was the surprise topic.
My surprise topic is the time change.
Okay.
Hate it.
Hate it.
Hate it.
Hated it.
I saw a meme of an Indian
Why are you bringing this up?
that says,
that's
whoever
so
thinks
fake.
you can cut a top off of a blanket and sew it on the bottom of a blanket and have a longer blanket is crazy or something like that. And that makes sense. Like, why do we think that you're making your day longer by messing up my internal clock?
So, let's have a new segment where
I was
hey,
literally...
Skip looks at weird memes from the internet and then
Well,
takes
you
them
keep your
as
surprise
fact.
topic to yourself until I'm done with mine. If that's what you want to use.
Skip thinks-
Takes them as fact. I didn't say it was fact. I said it was funny.
Skip said, a wise Indian once
Oh,
said...
no, I did not
that
say that.
If you
It's
sew
on
a
recording. They know what I
blanket
said.
And you share it, then it makes more hours in the day.
Hey.
That is so wise.
In American Indian chapter 1 in the Bible, it says...
You're making up books of the Bible now?
I am.
Heresy.
So, I literally was running to get ready for this right now tonight because
Yeah, I
it's
will
still
say,
daytime outside.
The time change is messing us up as far as, like, we're still...
Right.
Oh, it's still daylight?
Yeah, my kids are all still awake.
Oh.
And then I'm sitting there like at midnight going, I don't even feel tired. Why is it midnight? I need to go to bed. I got to go to work tomorrow.
I think that as we've gotten older, we probably haven't adapted to the time changes.
Crotchety old man and woman.
I'm pretty sure that most people don't have this issue. So comment below if you're having an issue with the time change, or if it's
thumbs up
just
time
us.
change or thumbs down time change.
If you want to say, hey, it's just you.
Now,
then go
in
ahead
the
and
fall,
put
it's not too bad, right? Because you fall back, you get an extra hour, and you feel like, man, I'm going to bed early tonight. It's 9 o'clock. It's really 10 o'clock, or whatever.
Yeah, we like fall back.
I do like fall back.
I think
Spring
everybody
forward.
does. Does anybody like spring forward?
Fall back, you get an extra hour of sleep. That one night, the whole thing. Fall back rules.
Yes, it does.
So why can't we just set it and leave it? That's my whole thing. It's an antiquated system. It's not needed anymore. That's it.
Okay, I vote yes for eliminating the time change.
There was no time change in Hawaii. They didn't do it, and it was lovely.
Yes, everything about Hawaii was lovely.
That's true. So, what's your surprise topic?
I don't have one.
Surprise!
Surprise, I don't have a topic.
The teacher's pet came unprepared.
I've been tired. My surprise topic is how busy that we've been. I texted my mom today. She's like, I haven't heard from you in a few days. And I said, I don't know. I feel like I've been really busy and I have no idea what I've gotten accomplished. So.
Do you want me to help you fix that while we're on camera?
Oh, no. You're not fixing me.
Oh my goodness, that was funny.
You are so
I got a little nervous just even asking that question.
So, things like taking 4 kids to the grocery store, that takes up all my time and energy. So.
Yes, it does.
That's all right. It was fun. They got candy out of the deal.
Candy in the pocket.
Not that
Back to
thankful
that.
that they have candy.
All right. What's the main topic tonight?
Well, Skip and I were talking this week, and so we wanted to bring some encouragement to you guys. It was something that we had been discussing, and we figured other people were thinking about it too. So there's been a lot of discussion in the news lately about changing and federal funding and stuff for various government outreaches or different programs, social programs and stuff like that. And so we were talking about it, and I think that there's been some fear and stuff in some of the comments that we've been seeing from people, and kind of not understanding or unsure about how those needs are going to be met in the future. If the government takes away the funding, then what are the people going to do? And so Skip and I were talking, and we feel like that we are the change. You are the change. You are the solution. You are the community assistance. You are the one who makes a difference in the place where you live. And so that's what we want to encourage you about tonight, is to set your sights higher, kind of think differently. Think outside of a usual situation where someone needs help and then, someone else solves the problem. So I'd like you to just think about you being the solution for the problem. And so I think that requires a little bit more, obviously, because it's a new thing, it's a new habit, and it's a new awareness and mindset that you have to develop. And so it's something new, so it takes a little bit of effort, but it's not something that's hard. It's something that's very normal to live in communities and people groups and to care about each other. And so that's what we want to bring to the table today, is that you were made to care about the people around you. You were made to care about your community, and you were made to love the people around you. And so we want to encourage you to think about ways that you can do that in the community where you live.
Yeah. And what does that look like, right?
Right. So
this conversation was spurred on because I heard a news story about the government was possibly cutting public school lunches. And my initial reaction was, oh, wow. I mean, I heard, I know of the statistics and everything else that some kids, the only meal that they get is the school lunch, right, of the day, because they come from low-income families or whatever. And so that was my first reaction, oh, no, this can't happen. And then my next reaction was, well, wait a minute, this can be our greatest moment, right? As neighbors, as a community. So instead of standing up and yelling at the government, why not stand up and cry out to bring people in to solve that problem that you're passionate about? And that's how this whole subject came up. So instead of yelling at the government or yelling at the authority or whatever the situation is, to stand up and invite people in to that problem and be the solution, like Beth was saying at the very beginning. So in that situation, it might look like, gathering parents, at the school, talking to some teachers and figuring out if there's a way that you can do something to provide lunches, provide lunch money. A lot of schools might not want you bringing food in for the students, obviously, for lawsuits and stuff, but how can you provide money? Can you collect, that kind of stuff? Or, if your son or daughter sits next to someone who's not eating, maybe you pack 2 sandwiches instead of 1, and you just get to share, 2 yogurts, 2 puddings, whatever you're putting in their lunchbox, and you get to share, and all of a sudden you have community happening right there at the school, and possibly, your child now making a friend that they normally wouldn't have made because they're serving.
And that's what I think that it is. It's an awareness of being outside of ourselves, and I think that our kids have to have that awareness as well. We have to be training and teaching our children to be looking out beyond themselves and seeing someone that, instead of making fun of them for having lesser clothes, clothes that aren't as cool, or, oh, look, they don't eat, or they're always off to the side, and making fun of them. I think like generations past might have put those persons to the side to be able to think about, okay, well, oh, that probably means they're going through a hard time, so then you can start figuring out how to love that person. You're going to have to connect with them and figure out a way to be a solution to meet a need. So
and really, love is the answer, right? So if you're operating through love and with love, and you're with a servant's heart, and your motives are right, then that is the first step. Because so many people, like if you take the school lunch thing, because that's what we started with, like I would have no idea where to start with that. Like, how do you even do something like that? I am a businessman, I have my own business, I'm married, I've got 4 kids of my own, we got all these, but so at that point you have to move from love and empathy or sympathy or whatever these emotions are that you feel, and you have to begin to talk to people. Right. Like, okay, so who in my community might have an answer? Start asking a lot of questions. Questions are very good. So ask parents of the school that you go to. Last week we were talking about gossip, and how destructive it can be. This is a very good opposite of gossip. Instead of getting in the group of moms and gossiping about other moms or the teachers that you guys don't like and that kind of stuff, maybe it's, hey, I heard, Johnny doesn't have lunch because school lunch funding was cut. So what can we do to help Johnny? And then all of a sudden that discussion, oh, well, I know this person, I know that person, or actually my husband's best friends with the principal, let me have him talk to him and see if there's anything, those kind of questions, and expanding like your net. You personally will never be able to give school lunches to even the kids just in the school that your kid goes to, let alone the city and the county and the state where you live, right? But as a network, as a group, you can encourage this on, and all of a sudden creativity and things begin to happen, and now all of a sudden you're birthing something that's beautiful, where there's a group of people coming together. Nonprofits are born out of that, and then on it goes, and now you have no problem funding school lunch, and now the government can use that money somewhere else if they want to. Or if you still think the government should do it, that's cool too. Vote differently next time, right? So, but you're enacting your love, your networking, your friends, and seeing what you can do. And that kind of stuff is like wildfire. It grows fast.
Yeah, and as far as adults in our community and stuff, there's ways to look beyond your own personal life and to look at the people around you and to actually see them. So I want to encourage you to really get involved in your neighborhoods and get involved in your communities. Be active and aware outside of your social circle. So don't just kind of go, okay, yeah, well, those neighbors down the street, well, they're weird, but and just cut them off and not interact with them. they go, okay, well, their house has gone into disrepair for a few years, and I know that he's elderly and his wife died. Get involved by talking to them and just becoming friends, and then you'll get a chance to see what's really going on, and you'll get a chance to possibly be part of a solution to meet a need. So if you have elderly people, if you have people that aren't able to care for what they've been given, then see if you can join in. And if it's someone that's elderly, maybe put up their Christmas lights for them and see what you can do. If you see that they used to get Meals on Wheels or whatever delivered to them, and that Meals on Wheels is cutting back, then go, okay, well, hey, I would really like to invite you over for lunch, or I would really like to, if you're not able to go, can we come and have lunch with you? Can we bring a picnic into your house? Or, can we, bring you a couple meals, and then once a week we'll get together, or something like that. So we were made to live in community. We were made to live connected with people. And so a lot of these needs that we see in society, we go, oh, they have a need. They're a lesser people group, so they need help from somebody else. And nobody wants to step up and meet it because they always think it's somebody else that is going to solve it. Well, you are the somebody else. You are the one that can love your community well. You can see, hey, I walk by that park every week. There's a lot of garbage on the floor. And get your kids involved. Include them in what you're doing. And you guys go and pick up garbage together. Go and, as you're walking around the neighborhood, pick up the garbage around it and say hi to the neighbors and stop and interact with them. Get to know their names and start living life with the people around you that you wouldn't normally interact with. And then there will be opportunities that open up for you to actually be a difference maker in the situation. So we are very passionate about including our children in our life, and we never wanted to be where, hey, mommy and daddy go and do cool stuff and we go and help people and serve people, but you guys are too little, so you don't get to participate, and to exclude them from all kinds of stuff that's in our life, all the things that we do that are because of goodness or because of loving God. And so we, for a period of time, I was maybe pregnant with Daisy. I don't know, but we had a couple small children, and we met up with this group that was a church, and they would have college students that they would meet together every Monday night, and they would go and feed the homeless people in the area.
They would make the food first.
Yeah, so we would meet up and
make the sandwiches and
the college students would do that. The college students were coming because they got credit, and
that's
so
cool. Yeah, they had to do voluntary.
This was much more of not a spiritual exercise as a social. They was just a social thing that they were doing, to reach out, like a justice-minded thing or whatever. Right. So anyway, we have two small children. We find out about this group that's doing it, and we think, hey, that sounds like something that we would like to be involved with. And so what they would do is they would make the meals. They would put it in a paper sack, make popcorn and sandwiches and a couple things like that. And then everybody would pile into various cars, and they would go to 3 or 4 different locations. One was the Salvation Army, one was under a bridge.
Thermoses with hot coffee. And
they had big jugs of drink.
And tea and lemonade, different things. Yeah,
and they've been doing this for a couple of years, and so people were used to, like, they would arrive. They knew every Monday night at this certain time to congregate in this area because these people were going to be showing up.
Yeah.
And so anyway, we find out about it and we think, okay, that's awesome. We want to be involved with that. And we are going to go and we are going to bring our children. And so I made sure that our children were nice and close to us, and my kids knew that they weren't allowed to wander. They weren't allowed to go off with anybody else. If the kid was really small, either Skip or I were holding that child, and then the other one would be holding our hand or whatever. But we made sure that the kids knew that they were...
Sophia, who's
Sophia
so
talked to everybody
and ran around and talked to everybody.
But we were always on top of it, is what I wanted to say. That I would definitely recommend that you're on top of it. But that our kids were to... kids, you are welcome to come with us, and we want you to but please look everybody in the eye when you talk to them and smile. We are there to bring love, and not only food, but we're bringing love. And we're trying to meet them where they're at. We want to listen to their stories, and we want them to feel honored. And so we would show up, and the kids were a joy. They were a delight to these people. And Skip and I took it very personally. It was very special to us to sit there and look in the eye and shake hands and love people who are ignored all day, every day, the people that are looked past. And most people not only ignored, but it's an annoyance, like that they're an annoyance in life or whatever. And so we felt it was really special. And so we would bring the kids, and the kids got to participate, and the kids got to hear people's stories, and we got to hear it straight from them, why that they're on the streets or what was going on. And we were able to be part of a solution.
Yeah.
And so for us, it was one of the first opportunities we've had on a large scale of interacting with people that are homeless or having really tough time in various ways. And so we would ask questions and say, okay, well, is the food the main issue? Like, is getting food the main problem that you're having and encountering? And they said no.
Right.
You know, and the people that we talked to said food is the easy part. It's really easy to come by food. There's a lot of churches or a lot of
soup kitchens.
Yeah, there's a lot of
right.
Nonprofits and stuff who already are focused on the food aspect. They said the problem for us most of the time is that we need an address. In order to get a job, you have to be able to put out a mailing address so that you can receive mail. Or in order for me to collect my disability, I would have to have an address for them to mail it to, and that's hard for me. Or some people would talk about how it's hard for them to get a shower because they would go and apply for jobs, but they don't have really ways to get clean and stuff. So as far as the news stories that we were seeing this week about food being the main issue, that the person looked at me, one of the homeless people looked at me and said, no one in our county would ever not have food if they don't want it. You know, like, there's always food available in this county, but it's a lot of the other things that we have issues with. Yeah. And so I want to encourage you guys straight from the mouth of people who are living in the situations of extreme poverty, with not even having a house, that food is more readily available. There are ways to get food in different ways, but there are other things that people need, or people that are the working poor, the people that have jobs and are trying to struggle just to make it. You know, these are the kind of people that you might just be having in your neighborhood or hanging out with and stuff. And that's who you want to be aware and listening to the stories and meeting someone where they're at, so that if you are hanging out and you see them not have a bunch of food in their cupboards, or you see whatever, like if you see something going on, or your husband lost his job or whatever, love people well enough to kind of push beyond any kind of uncomfortableness that comes from keeping everything hidden. So, you know, talk to your neighbors. Don't let everything stay hidden. Don't let the kid that comes to your kid's house that is dirty or whatever, and just let him go home into a bad situation without you thinking or seeing what you can do to be part of the solution. So I do want to say that in our interactions, I feel like honor is very important. Yeah. And people want choice. People want nice stuff. Even people that are living on the streets, they don't want bad stuff, but they will put up with what they're given. But give your best to people that you meet that are needing something. Don't just go, oh, well, they're poor, I'll give them my worst, and it doesn't really matter because they're poor, they don't have any choice, or, you know, they get what they get. You know, like, that is not going to actually be a solution to any problem.
Yeah. Can I tell a little story?
Please do.
My dad, my grandmother died. My dad went up and was helping take care of her. And it goes back to what Beth was saying earlier about knowing your community, knowing your neighbors, and the needs and that kind of thing. So my dad goes up. He's taking care of my grandmother, the last part of her life, and then she passes. And he was going to sell the house. And everybody's like, no, you're not going to sell the house. It was bad. The economy was still pretty bad. You're not going to get anywhere near what it's worth. You might as well just rent it and all this other stuff. He's like, no, I just know I'm supposed to sell the house. And so he started working on to sell the house. And he was getting her house ready and getting rid of some of her, old stuff and that kind of stuff. And then the neighbor across the street, my grandmother lived in West Virginia, so there's like a big long gravel driveway that went all the way up. And the neighbor across the street, from when I was a kid, she passed when Sophia was 4. I was 35 years old or something, right? 36 maybe. So when I was a kid, the neighbor across the street had started to do the side of their house with siding. So they put like the OSB board. It's kind of like the press board that looks like it has big wood chips in it, and they put that all up first, and first tar paper, and then the OSB board, which is really cheap, and then you put the siding on to make it look nice. They never put the siding on, ever. 20 years, right? 25 years or something. So the neighbors had been trying to get them to do it, and my grandma's neighborhood was kind of nice. There was a resort area at the bottom of the hill from her, a boating resort thing and a golf course, I think, or something. So it was kind of a nice area. But like her little country road that went up, it was like smaller houses, but they were all pretty nice, and they had their little gardens and stuff. And this was the eyesore of the neighborhood. But the side of his house, if you stood, on my grandmother's front porch and looked out, you're looking at the side of his house. And it had been like that forever, right? And so all the neighbors had tried to get him to put siding on the side of his house and fix it, and he just kind of barked at them and said, no, leave me alone, right? Well, my dad gets to know him while he's taking care of my grandma, making friends with him, never mentioned anything. Of course, my dad is, easygoing and just loves everybody. And everybody's his friend, and so like my dad didn't think twice about the side of this guy's house. Well, now Grandma who that he had made, and he said, "Hey, Mom died. She left me a little bit of money, and I know she'd be so happy if you'd let me buy the siding and put this on your house. I would love to do it for you." And the guy went, "Really?" And my dad said, "Yeah, I know. She loved you. You guys were great neighbors. Or you're always coming over helping. Let us give back." He's like, "Oh man, that'd be great." My dad goes and puts siding on this guy's house, right? Lists the house for a higher price than most people thought he should. And the house sold in a week. A dude from the resort area was just driving up and was just looking for a kind of cabin kind of place to go in the summer when they come up on the lake to go skiing. Wanted a place for all his boys to stay in and stuff like that. And drove up the day my dad stuck the sign in the yard and said, "How much you asking?" And my dad gave him the price, and the guy actually gave him $5,000 more. He said, "I'll give you $5,000 more if you'll accept my offer right now." And my dad said, "I'll accept it right now." And then of course the guy leaves. My dad calls me. He's all excited, because he was asking me to pray for him, for this whole situation. And so then he kind of giggled. He goes, "Maybe I should have said 120, And he's like, "Dad," he's like, "Oh, I know. I'm super happy." So anyway, it was one of those things of knowing your neighbors. My dad didn't look down at this guy. He wasn't trying to go over and get him to fix his wall because it was an eyesore or anything like that. He knew it was an eyesore, but it doesn't change the fact that my dad was going to befriend this man and his family. And so it's just a really neat testimony of not only knowing your neighbors, knowing their needs, but knowing timing, because you become friends, you become in a relationship, and you get to know them intimately. They get to know you intimately. Yeah. We were in St. Pete maybe a year after we were doing that thing, feeding the homeless, or more. And we were downtown. We went into a taco place to get tacos, and one of the ladies that we would meet every week came walking in. She's like, "Hey guys," and she came up and yes, please come sit with us. We had a taco with her, and she was telling us how she was now finally got housing and
was working on issues
custody with her child. She was pregnant while she was homeless, so that the state kept the baby when she delivered, and she was working on custody issues with that baby, and now was in housing and getting work and stuff. So it was really neat, like, for her to come in and see us in there and recognize us and want to come over and have lunch with us. It was really, really a huge blessing for us.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, that most of the time when we have gotten to know our neighbors, there's things that we can go, oh, well, I could do that, or, yeah, I saw that you needed that, like, even we go and hang out at a friend's house every Saturday night, and it's sort of, it's our house church. It's a community gathering, 20 to 50 people get together every Saturday night, and I'll just see, like, okay, my kids used up all of your paper from your printer this week, and so
coloring. Not printing, coloring.
Yeah, no, yeah.
Ripping it out as fast as they can, drawing everybody in the house a picture.
So I'll buy a pack of paper or whatever. So you just meet the needs of the community around you, but in order to do that, you have to interact and you have to think beyond your own needs. So it's something that as we get busy in life, sometimes we tend to let it slide, but it's so important. We want to encourage you to don't just get angry and rail at the government or whatever. Actually sit there and think, okay, what can I do to love my community well? What can I do to be a difference maker? Yeah,
and not just government, even smaller than government. If it's your workplace or whatever it is. I mean, some of you guys listening now work in places where you have 50, 100, even 1,000. That's worked in a place where there's over 1,000 employees in one building. And there are people, you see them in the work cafeteria sitting by themselves because they're kind of the oddball. You see them sitting because they dress differently than everybody else or whatever the reasons are, and that's a place to make a friend and serve, and it can be a really beautiful thing.
And I was 19 years old and I didn't know how to cook, and not how to cook very well. Skip knew how to cook zero and I knew how to cook a little. And we didn't have a lot of money, and I would eat chips and salsa for lunch because that's what we had or whatever. So I think that if you see somebody at your workplace and, they're asking you questions about recipes or different things, like I was constantly asking. So, take these people under your wing. Take responsibility. Take the people in your community under your wing, because then if you realize that you're part of the helping situation, you're more apt to see what you can do. The solutions, they just kind of unfold before you, but you have to be willing to take the first step. So we encourage you, take the first step.
Take the first step.
Do it.
It'll be fun, I promise.
It definitely is.
Yeah. What if you watched one less TV show a week and you served somehow? Or made a friend, or prepared meals for the elderly woman next down the street, or something like that.
Yeah, and it's such a blessing. The our lawnmower broke last year, and the neighbor was out mowing his lawn. He's got the riding mower, and he doesn't even speak English, and he was just kind of what I could understand of Spanish, or what he was saying, that he would mow our lawn for us, and so that blessed us so much.
And he did it through the whole summer. Like, I had the kids out there. I had the kids out there because the grass was getting, tall. And so they were out there with like a golf club or something. Or a hockey stick or something. Yeah. And they were just swiping and just whacking down the grass, right?
Hillbilly style.
Yeah. And so... so the neighbor saw them doing it. Wasn't that a relationship, it was pity.
Taking pity on the children.
No, but he's a very nice guy. Our neighbors are very nice.
No, honestly, the very first day we moved in, Skip saw that he had a truck similar to the truck that you had, and you had parts for the truck that you didn't need anymore. Right. And so we were just moving in, so Skip goes over and doesn't even really speak the same language and says, "Here, I wanted to give this to you. I saw that you had that," and like from the very outset, you made sure to make relationship.
And that is one thing that we've always done really well, whether it's here locally in Florida when we've moved, or when we've lived in wherever we've lived in the world. We always live as guests. We don't come into the neighborhood like we have rights. This is our neighborhood. This is our house. This is our space. This is our fence. We always come in as guests. We're always serving or bringing gifts.
We've been so incredibly blessed. Like every time we go, we're like, we have such good neighbors,
Yeah.
you know, and it's because that we are looking out beyond our fence and looking over there.
Yeah.
Like when we were in Hawaii, we had the best neighbors. We had a Filipino family that lived next door,
They were really
and
fun.
they would have these huge feasts, and they honored us and invited us into their big feast. And so
Yeah.
we were getting to participate with that. And then the neighbor on the other side would catch fresh fish, and he would give us all kinds of good food from his garden or
Yeah.
whatever he was doing. And we're like, look at this. We're so
When we were in Central America,
blessed.
people tell us, you'll never be invited into the homes, you know,
Oh.
and that kind of thing. And we're like, really, you know? So we just start talking, making friends with people.
No, we had already been there a little while and had already eaten in people's
Oh, yeah,
homes
I'd already been invited.
and had
different-
been like one guy. He drove an hour and a half from the capital city to come and have lunch with us, and we didn't know. We thought he lived locally, and we said, "Hey, you want to get together for lunch?" He's like, "Sure."
We met him down at the end of our streets, all right? So then while we're down there, he's like, hey, you want to come have lunch with us? We're like, sure.
So then he comes over for lunch, and
But we don't have a car. Are you close? He's like, I'll pick you up.
Oh, and then a different day, he brought us back to his place or
Yeah.
whatever. So an hour and a half away from us, and he comes and picks us up. And we had meals with several people. And so then we meet somebody else, and she said, I've been here a long time in Costa Rica. Don't be offended if they don't invite you into their houses or anything. People are just like that here. And we said, oh, no, that's not been our experience at all. We're having a really nice time interacting with people. So, you know, being very friendly and having the kids kind of break the ice with us. Having a friendly family
Yeah.
has really opened up a lot of doors, but it's given us an opportunity to meet people where they're at and for people to meet us where we're at.
Right.
We've experienced the blessing of people
Both.
giving in our lives for sure. So we encourage you to do it. Reach out.
That's
Reach
it.
out and touch someone.
Is that a wrap?
That's a wrap.
That's a wrap.
Are you gonna rap? Are you gonna give the beatbox?
Yo, yo, yo.
We are
Go,
awesome
keep
rappers.
it up. I'm going to bring it in.
No, thank you. Go ahead.
So, what's next month?
Next month is marriage
Next month is
Marriage month. April, we're going to be talking every week about something about marriage.
If you have some
Funny.
ideas.
Like something about marriage.
Something
Something
about-
about marriage.
That's funny. Yes, that will be our theme.
Something about marriage.
So, if you have some ideas or some topics you'd like us to talk about,
Yes.
then
hit
please
us up.
put them in the comments or the private messages on the Family Faith fan
Otherwise,
page.
we're going to come up with the topics, and Lord only knows what we're
Yep.
going to come up with all of our
Yeah.
years of marriage.
Maybe we'll change the format for April of this whole live thing. We'll do instead of some surprise topics, maybe we'll surprise them with something different.
I think we have some surprises up our sleeves.
Nice.
Look up there. Sleeve.
So,
Surprises.
you can find us on the social medias, of course. Twitter is my favorite.
We're on the socials.
Facebook is probably the one Beth leans towards.
Yep.
Maybe that'll be a topic one night. You guys can tell us what your favorite social medias on the internets,
On the interwebs.
on the interwebs. That'd be fun. So anyway, Skip Swiger, at Skip Swiger on everything, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, that's me. And then Beth is the same. She's at Beth Swiger. Swiger
Yeah.
like tiger.
That's not where I'm at.
SWIGER.
OG.
I
Love you guys.
Love you
Have a
guys.
wonderful week. Let's hear some stories when you guys do some of this stuff where you're interacting with people.
please. Yeah.
Definitely relay to us.
That'd be fun.
Okay, here's
Fun,
after
fun.
hearing what you did, tell us, you know, okay, it was really cool. I went and talked to my neighbor and then this happened. So we want to hear your stories. We want to be involved with your life. We want you to be
Yeah.
involved with us. So let's definitely stay communicating.
Bounce some ideas off of us. If you
Yeah.
are, you know, working somewhere or something and you have see an issue that you're passionate about and you want to see this issue be better, but you don't know a starting point, bounce it off of us. We love to kind of think through some of that stuff.
Yeah.
It's fun for us. So
There's always a solution. So
there's always a
be
solution.
looking.
It's in you. If you're already passionate about it, then the seed for the solution is in your heart already.
Yeah, God's ready to help you out on that.
All right.
All right.
Love you guys. See you next time.
bye.